All right, I have a question for you. These are your cereal picks. What are you going with? Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Frosted Flakes, Pops, Peanut Butter Crunch, Lucky Charms.
Shit, man, that's a bunch of good cereals. um, if I'm eating a bowl of cereal, it's got to be the peanut butter. Out of those lists, peanut butter crunch.
Dude, I don't know why either. It's like one that doesn't get you as excited, but when I think about peanut butter crunch in a bowl with some milk, damn.
I know. I'm like, I'm like, fuck, Lucky Charms. Oh, that sounds good. But, Captain Crunch, like peanut butter Captain Crunch, is like under the radar, good. Like it's never like not good.
Under the radar, maybe one of the best cereals of all time. Honestly. Like
Yeah.
Captain Crunch is fucking dog shit compared to peanut butter crunch.
You know what I had recently, which was amazing? It was cinnamon. It was French toast apple cinnamon crunch. Long ass name.
So they said, what are all the best cereals? We'll just make one.
It was basically, it was made by the people, or it had like the same box design as Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but it was French toast squares and then apple dust, which was top notch, top fucking notch.
Apple dust sounds like a new type of drug. Actually, that's a pretty creative drug.
Wicked smart, wicked cool, wicked fucking stupid, whatever the fuck. Something wicked.
I'm baking like a toasted Caesar. It's so hot here.
My boy's wicked smart.
Cause the boy is hotter than hot. He's hot, hot.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
So, yeah. Kevin coming in another weekend, another Friday. Except this time it's a Super Bowl weekend. Not that, again, anyone who's listening to this would care. But I feel like it'd be remiss of me to not mention it. But, yeah. How was the week for you, man?
It was good. I'm glad to be doing the podcast right now, and I don't give two shits about the Super Bowl at all. So I know you got a little bit of stake in it.
I do. I have gambling stake. I was actually explaining how I'm like I put $10 in. I have a chance to win at least $225, and that's just like what every gambler says. It's like it's only $10. I have a chance to win more.
That sounds like the
Or
start
nothing.
of a pyramid scheme. It's like it's only $10, and the guy at the top is like, here's my $250.
Yeah, the guy is already making a shit ton of money, and you're doing all the work.
Pretty much. Yeah,
That's basically how it goes.
pretty much.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited for today because, and I guess we can get into it later, but Hollywood is known for being, I guess, not creative now, and I was very surprised with the amount of remakes and reboots that were announced. On IMDb alone, there was like 150
Yeah.
from this year to like 2022. So, yeah,
That's
you look forward to 150 remade movies, which of course is, and everyone has guessed, welcome to Wake It Hot, by the way, because I forgot to do that. This is John and Kevin. We're doing remakes, two of which we like, two of which we don't like. But yeah, I mean, thoughts on
yeah.
basically everything
It was
being remade.
alarming researching this because, I didn't think we'd be able to find much when the topic kind of came up for us to do, and an immediate Google search was hundreds and hundreds of movies and TV shows, and it was like, wow. Now that I know how many there are, it's hard to pick only 2 good ones and 2 bad ones out of this bunch.
It really was, and honestly, I thought it was most of it was going to be concepts, like, oh, is this could be this, but a lot of the results I looked at were had writers, had directors, or like rumored directors. Some had casting already in it, which God almighty, jeez, I just, there's a lot of stuff. There was a lot to sift through. And again, this will be another one where people may be saying, oh, you should have done this one, you should have done this one. There's 150. I mean, I'm sure we'll probably revisit this at some point in the future.
Yeah, this is definitely something maybe a year or two from now that they're having announcements for movies that are coming out in 2024, and we're going to make a whole nother list of these ridiculous remakes that they're making.
And it's like remakes from like 2015 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 2000, like in 2005, it's like being remade. Like, I mean, I guess that is 20 years later, almost 20 years, but still.
Yeah,
It's like, I remember 2005, and I'm just thinking, like, why the fuck would anyone remake something that's like that just happened?
Yeah, it's easy to think that those years just happened because I graduated in 2005. So it feels like not that long ago, but in Hollywood years, it's like an eternity. It's like, God.
I feel like 13 years ago is already like, they're like, what came out in 2005? We got to throw it back on the production.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that stuff from 2017 is going to be remade in a couple years.
I mean, just think about it this way. Like, we've had movies that were good remakes, like, and fine remakes, like the Star Wars sequels, right? We have the old people coming in. That sounds awful, the old people. But, like, you know, the last time there was a Star Wars movie was like an original trilogy was 1983. And then we have Blade Runner, which was what? Was that also 1983? Yeah.
It was early 80s, yeah.
And I mean, they just came out with 2049, 2017. So
What's with Hollywood?
But that's a long time. Like 1983 to 2017.
But
that's a longer
that's
time.
not a reboot, is it? Is it a sequel?
It's a sequel, but I guess in a way you could say it's kind of like a remake.
Yeah, it's especially going to be a remake if they run with it and do more shit.
Which, by the way, I wouldn't be mad about. That movie was fucking awesome.
I didn't see it. I'm not a fan of Blade Runner, like the original, so I wasn't interested in the remake.
I didn't. I'm going to be honest with you. Didn't watch Blade Runner. Never seen it. Blade Runner 2049. Awesome.
Wow. That's like, Jesus, that's like going into Return of the King, not seeing any of the fucking Lord of the Rings movies before that.
I actually, this is what I do for most things. Like Walking Dead, I'm like, I don't want to see any other seasons except for the Negan one. So what I do, I looked up all the synopses for every episode. I'm like, okay, they're walking around, they're on the same road in Georgia, blah blah blah. Not missing much. And then I got to the Negan episode, knew everything that happened. So
that's
I did the same thing for Blade Runner. Yeah, I was like, I tried watching it on Netflix one time. I'm like, fuck, I can't do it.
It's hard to go back and watch 80s movies
unless you grew up watching them.
See,
as
for
a
me,
child.
I'm like one of the types of people that's like newer, in most cases, is better.
You're Hollywood, so fuck out of here that you are against it. That's Hollywood, man.
Because it's like I love horror movies, and specifically I love paranormal, like demon, alien type stuff. And I know the cult classics like The Exorcist and stuff, like people love those. I can't watch it now. Like, I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's shit. Like, visually it's shit. Like, I know I'm probably gonna get so much shit for that, but
Kevin's like, The Exorcist fucking sucks.
No, like, it's a good movie, but it's not like, it wouldn't hold up today. It definitely doesn't hold up today.
No,
even the writing doesn't hold up today.
It doesn't. But you literally sounded like an exec in a Hollywood
boardroom.
Hate
myself for it.
We're like, so you remember that movie in the 80s? What if we like threw CGI on it, called up Harrison Ford, had him replay his role, throw in a Ryan Gosling? I mean, that was a good example, but that's like saying they're going to remake Fast and Furious with in like 2030, and it's gonna be like they probably won't be flying cars yet, but they'll be like Fast and Furious. It's like all like crazy, like I don't know. It's like Fast and Furious / Transformers, because that's clearly what's gonna happen in 2030 in my world.
I guess what could happen is just electric cars.
Yep, that could happen.
I don't know about Transformers by 2030, but electric cars sounds normal.
They're like, yo, saving the planet. I'm all about that family. My family needs to live. All right, well, let's just dive right into our movies. I got a couple good ones, and this is gonna sound weird for you, but I got a horror movie on here.
Oh wow!
And I'm the guy that says movies in with ghosts in rooms. Not a horror dude. It's just not. I don't know. It not particularly for me. I'll see some, but
do you like any genres of the horror thing at all?
What is in horror the genre?
Yeah, there's like subgenres, like the paranormal stuff, like the gore porn, I guess you could say, like Hostel and House
Saw.
of Wax and stuff like that. Yeah.
What was the first one?
Saw 1?
No. What was the one before gore porn?
Like paranormal.
The subgenre? Oh, like demons and stuff. I would say monsters.
Monster movies, yeah.
Like not like Creature of the Black Lagoon or like Dracula. Well,
No,
I
I know what you mean. Like Jason, I would consider
Jason,
a monster movie
right.
in that genre.
The problem is they're not good, except maybe like the first Halloween. Like I like the Michael Myers stuff. It's pretty good, I guess. But one thing that I do want, and I do like, they did announce Nightmare on Elm Street to be rebooted from the last time it was done in the 90s, and more recently in 2010, which was not good. But yeah, of all the horror movies that we've seen the last reboots, or I'm sorry, of all the horror movies that we've seen the least reboots / remakes, just coming under Leatherface / Texas Chainsaw Massacre comes Freddy. So Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, as far as like movies are concerned, like number of movies, I'm not counting New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I don't know if you saw that one.
No.
That's like when Freddy is a fictional character that comes into the real world. So he like basically kills people that they're filming the Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
No.
Yeah.
God.
And also, I'm not going to count Freddy versus Jason because
I saw that in theaters.
That's a straight up comedy. I saw
that in theaters.
You saw the Freddy versus Jason in theaters?
Why do you think I don't see movies anymore? Because I wasted so much money on those.
You really did. But yeah, for me, it's one of the more interesting classic movie villains of like our time, our generation. Right? I feel like I more connect with Nightmare on Elm Street. But I don't know. I feel like with Freddy, there's just so much more range. Like Jason, he's at the camp, he kills people. Michael Myers, he's on the neighborhood block, he kills people. Freddy can be anywhere, and he can transform the world that he kills you in into anything. And I feel like creatively, they could do so much that I feel like personally they just haven't. But yeah, last modern reboot, like I said, we saw it was Jackie Earl Haley, guy from Watchmen, who was Rorschach, into the role. That movie was straight up trash, garbage. But, and in my famous catchphrase that I've noticed in past episodes, interestingly enough, Robert Englund, who was the old Freddy, expressed interest for Kevin Bacon to take out the mantle as Freddy.
What?
I don't know if I like that. We could discuss that. But and then as far as like the new production that I could find anything on IMDb, the writer that's attached to it name is David Leslie Johnson. He wrote Orphan, which is an underrated horror movie. I actually like that movie. With I don't know if you saw Orphan.
Is that the one that's in Spanish?
No, that's The Orphanage.
Okay. Then no, I did not see it.
the prequel to The Orphan. And then he also helped write Conjuring 2 with like James Wan.
Okay, I could
Yeah,
get into that.
Okay, so thoughts on Nightmare on Elm Street reboot and like just the overall.
I like the
idea.
idea.
Okay.
I like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of Kevin Bacon. That sounds awful.
When I could just, can you imagine Kevin Bacon as Freddy?
No, it's hard. It's really hard to imagine Kevin Bacon doing anything at all anymore because you just don't see him.
You really don't see him, but as Freddy, I mean, Robert Englund, like, just stop talking. Like, if you're gonna suggest Kevin Bacon, that's awful. By the way, Robert Englund also liked Jackie Earl Healy, and we know how that movie turned out. And actually, Robert Englund himself has said that he fucking hated the movie, that it was straight up garbage.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. I was always growing up. I always was a Jason fan. I know how campy those movies are, and they're shit now. Like, it's hard to go back and watch them. But I wasn't a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street. I was what is the fucking Jason movies called? Like, the series
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Yeah, god damn.
Jason X.
Oh god, I saw that in theaters as well.
You watch such awful movies in theaters. What is wrong with you?
I know. I was trying to think of, before we were recording, I was trying to think of the last movie I saw in theaters, and I think it was No, it was 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah, you hated it.
And that was recently.
How about I pick the movies you go see in the theaters? Because you are very bad at picking movies to go see yourself.
I hate going to movies by myself.
Fair enough.
And the one time I did it, the lady gave me shit for it. So
I will say I'm due to your past in movie choices going to see Freddy vs. Jason in theaters, Jason X in theaters. Please tell me you did not go see Leprechaun in the Hood.
No, God, no. No.
So Kevin's a fan of bad horror movies. That's fine.
I was a fan of bad horror movies, but now, like, it's hard to find a good horror movie that's in my wheelhouse, and that just doesn't exist right now. Outside of, like, Conjuring, and I don't even think Annabelle is that good.
So David Leslie Johnson helped write Conjuring 2, so
that's something. Conjuring 2 wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as Conjuring 1, but it wasn't bad at all.
Okay. But, I mean, would this interest you as far as Nightmare on Elm Street, the way I've put it out there, right?
It does interest me, but I think the character itself needs some more development, because that's something they've never really touched on. And
I mean,
it's
do
something
any of these guys have development, really?
Well, Jason's development is like he drowned in a lake, and now he wants to kill people.
That's such, it's in depth.
Yeah. That's the whole story. And then the Michael Myers thing is...
I feel like that's the one that's been fleshed out the most poorly, I may add.
Yeah, Leatherface has been fleshed out, kinda. Like with the remakes it was.
Yeah. I feel like they have good concepts, but the execution is just like, let's just make another stupid horror movie for kids to go see.
I think it's because horror movies don't get the budget that regular movies get.
I think, but that's because of the way they've always been marketed towards.
It's kind of like a catch-22.
It really is. It's like, well, we were set this way, but we also put ourselves in this position.
Yeah.
Can't win.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what do you have for me? Because I went horror, which is completely out of my wheelhouse, but I felt like I talked about it pretty, if I must say, I did it really, really well. So what do you got for me?
So my first one is one that I really want to see, and it's motherfucking Thomas Crown Affair.
Yep.
That is sneakily underrated movie from 1999, which is actually a remake of a movie from the 60s with Steve McQueen.
So they're inceptioning a remake.
I don't know if it's going to be a remake of the remake, because I think the Pierce Brosnan one was pretty close to what the original one was.
Okay.
So even if they were to remake it now based off of either one, it could be either one.
Right.
So the star that's attached to this movie is none other than your boy Michael B. Jordan.
1,000% in.
Yeah.
Like you could just stop right there. 1,000% in.
The synopsis of the movie is basically a rich guy, Pierce Brosnan at this point, becomes a playboy and starts stealing artwork, and Rene Russo's like a cop or something in it.
And Dennis Leary's in this movie.
Yeah. Dennis Leary.
He's a cop in it as well.
Yep. Rene Russo. Pretty much it, other than Pierce Brosnan. That's pretty much all I recognize.
If I'm being 100% honest, I feel like they could redo this with Michael B. Jordan and Pierce Brosnan, and I would be like, I couldn't even, I wouldn't know what I would do.
So Michael B. Jordan actually brought this to the studio. It's like his project. So
does he know that it was a movie before?
No, he does. So. Yeah, he knows. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I came up with this thing in my dream. It's called Thomas Crown Affair.
So he brought it to the studio, and in an interview that he was talking about this movie, he mentioned that he had never played a cop before. So my theory based off of that is that he's not gonna play Thomas Crown, which is unfortunate because I think he could be really good Thomas Crown.
Oh, 100%.
And if he were British, he'd be my 007.
Oh, yeah, he'd be my 007 too. I don't think people understand like the history with me and Michael B. Jordan. The man is talented as fuck. He's just, God, like he could be whatever he wants to be, honestly. Like the
guy's a chameleon.
He really is. Like he can be boxer, he can be supervillain. Yeah, I don't know about that yet, but I'm hoping that it's gonna be good in Black Panther. Guy's just wicked talented. Like he's just my go-to. I mean, he's my go-to for anything, any role. Like put Michael B. Jordan in that motherfucker. Honestly, since we still haven't seen the Han Solo trailer, if the trailer ends up being that Michael B. Jordan's Lando Calrissian, like movie's like a 99, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm in for that. We talked about that before. I am in for that. So
yeah.
There's no
Thomas Crown Affair.
Thomas Crown Affair. There's no writer director attached to it. So this came up last year when Michael B. Jordan was doing an interview. Said he wanted to remake or redo Thomas Crown Affair. He had an idea for it that was a little different than the original and the remake. So overall thoughts on Thomas Crown Affair with Michael B. Jordan?
With Michael B. Jordan, first off, the Thomas Crown Affair, I told you when so Kevin asked me before we started this, he's telling me about his movies, and he's like, have you seen Thomas Crown Affair? I'm like, no, but I switched it to a channel, and I saw Pierce Brosnan and Dennis Leary, and I was like, I need to see this movie. I don't know what this movie is, but I need to see it. And so I have it recorded and on my DVR, and I probably will be watching it sometime later this weekend, hopefully. But if you're telling me now it's got Michael B. Jordan in it, and he's like a thieving, like suave motherfucker, I'm in 100%. But I'm like wondering. So are you saying like he's gonna be the cop or
That's what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that he's gonna be Thomas Crown, but
yeah, I would rather him be Thomas Crown. I don't really want him being a cop. Like I don't want him being like a by the books guy, unless he's like a funny cop. But I feel like the funny black cop thing it's not new.
It's played out.
Yeah, I want him to be Thomas Crown. Like be Thomas Crown. Bring back fucking Dennis Leary to be the cop. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm down for that. So I guess the premise of this is like a one man Ocean's 11 type movie. I think that'd be perfect for Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I think he's kind of miscasting himself. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, and if you're gonna make your own movie, why not be the lead in it?
Yeah,
Like, what are you gonna be as this supporting role and let somebody else get all the credit when you could actually play the part?
yeah. Learn from Mel Gibson, minus the Nazi stuff. He did Braveheart. He got Best Director, Best Picture. I feel like he was nominated for Best Actor. I don't know. Could be wrong. My brother will probably fact check me later. But yeah, I mean, he's got to do Thomas Crown. That's in his not in his wheelhouse, because I feel like he hasn't really done that role, but he could totally kill that role.
Yeah.
He's had a very multifaceted. He hasn't been really stuck in anything. I feel like he really hit it off with Creed. Now he's in Black Panther. And I mean, there's only good things. He's not going to get stuck into a role. I think he needs to go for the role you can have a lot more fun with. Now he's like, oh, I've never played a cop before. I'm going to play a cop now. Like, that's boring. Play a cop on something else. Don't do it for like a movie with more interesting characters.
Yeah, and a project that you're working
Helming.
on. Like, if you're passionate about the project, why wouldn't you want to be the main character of it?
He's like, I'm going to make Thomas Crown Affair, and I'm going to be the police chief in that movie that has like
one scene.
Yeah. Like, he's like, Thomas Crown, you're a bad guy. That's how that movie goes, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But they don't find that out till the end.
Okay. Yeah, so overall thoughts, I mean, Michael B. Jordan, just plaster him on anything, I'm in.
Yeah. If his name's attached to it, I'm in.
So it's funny that you said Michael B. Jordan, because he's actually well, not in my hypothetical next thing. So another reboot they were getting. Got to bring it back to the 90s, where it was Michael J. White leading the armies of hell against fucking
Luigi.
Martin Sheen and his gang of mercenaries, and throwing some John Leguizamo. I'm talking about Spawn. So Spawn is in talks of being remade by none other than the Spawn creator of the comic book, Todd McFarlane. So it's possibly going to be written and directed by Todd McFarlane. The only thing about it's only going to have a $10 million budget. But the good thing about this is McFarlane himself cites this will, quote, keep the studio from interfering creatively. So
it's
going to be produced by a smaller production company, Blumhouse, which they did production for Split and Get Out, which we both know are two good movies.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like with the smaller production company, less studio involvement, maybe this can have like the same magic and revitalize the character of Spawn like it did M. Night Shyamalan for Split. Now, if you do remember the Spawn movie from the 90s, despite how awesome or not awesome you may have remembered it was being back then, which I remember it being cool, had that shit on VHS. It's not a good movie. It's a straight up dumpster fire.
Damn, I
awful.
love that movie.
Have you seen it recently?
I have not seen it recently.
So I rewatched clips of some things, and it's not good, like, at all. But how awesome was Spawn? He was such a badass motherfucker.
Yeah. And
Michael J. White was so badass in that movie.
He was perfectly cast for that. John Leguizamo, I didn't know that was him until I was at least 25.
Yeah, I didn't know that was him for a long time, too. And I think he was good as the clown.
He was, yeah. I thought he was.
Yeah. But, yeah, first movie, utter disaster, like, critically and everything else. Awful 90s dated CGI. And overall poor acting. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, aside from Michael J. White, John Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, his character was so forgettable. And
I
mean,
didn't. I didn't even remember that he was in that movie when you said it.
Yep, he was in that movie. But yeah, McFarlane said that it'd be more of a thriller and really allow the character to be written and portrayed correctly on film. Because I mean, the end of the day, he's kind of like he's a mercenary. He's like assassinating people on behalf of like Satan. There's no like giant like I don't know. I feel like in the movie, it just was like we need to show how cool Spawn is and all his gadgets and stuff, and that was like that entire like ballroom, like hotel scene when the cops came. It was just like I got my machine guns, I got my claws, I got my chains, I got my crawlies, I got my cape, like. And of course, I mean, there's no casting or anything about it, but I would throw Michael B. Jordan in there, easy.
Yeah, it. In the comics, is Spawn or the character or the guy that plays that is Spawn? I don't even know the guy's name. Is he a black guy?
Yep, he is black.
Okay, so it's not like weird.
No, they weren't being edgy in the 90s.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. But I thought it was kind of weird that there was a black superhero in the 90s because the 90s was quite the racist movie time.
Oh, 100%. But actually, this was the first, like the Spawn in 94 was the first time a black person was a lead role in a superhero movie.
And then came Blade.
Yep.
No, I
and
mean
it's Al. And it's Al Simmons, by the way.
Al Simmons, that's Spawn's name.
Yep.
What a stupid name.
Really? I think it's a good name.
No, that's a stupid name.
Okay. Yeah, so thoughts on Spawn?
I
know you were a big fan of the 90s one, huh?
I was a big fan, but I haven't seen it in like 20 years. So don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
And I'm also the guy that saw Jason X in theaters, so you can't take my opinion for it.
No, I don't know why we're doing the show anymore, honestly. Yeah, so you're behind it. I'm behind it. Michael B. Jordan for
Michael B. Jordan's gotta be.
Yeah, it's like 100.
But is Spawn its own thing, or is it like a Marvel or DC thing?
I think it's Image Comics. I'm pretty sure maybe it started off as Marvel. No, it's Image Comics. Image Comics.
Yeah. So no, it's not attached to Marvel at all.
Not attached to Marvel at all.
Okay.
So it's possible. I mean, you know that his villain character is not going to live in Black Panther. So
I'm
we could just
sick of them killing off villains. Like every movie, like they're going through villains like crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Marvel doesn't really have that great of villains, but yeah, it's kind of tiring. But yeah, man. So what else you got for me on your next one?
So my next one is a movie based off of a Stephen King book. That's right, it's a book. Written by Stephen King.
Shawshank Redemption.
No, not Shawshank Redemption. It is Pet Sematary.
Cool.
So the movie, it's a 1983 novel, and I think it was a 1989 movie, and it had a sequel. Actually, 2 sequels. The second one was terrible, with Edward Furlong, Terminator 2, Terminator 2 guy.
This is when he was like heavily on crack.
Well, yeah, he was like 16 or 17 in the movie.
Was Pet Sematary 2 pets, 2 cemeteries?
That's the perfect title.
It really is. That's the 1-2 of something that works.
It does. It really does.
So Pet
Sematary, yeah. So there was two movies. The second one was not good. First one, probably at the time, it was one of my favorite Stephen King movies. Now
at the time,
have to say,
Spawn was one of your favorite movies.
Yeah.
And Jason X,
Freddy vs. Jason, Spawn. and Pet Sematary 2 favorite movies.
Yes, so are they just remaking the first one?
So I guess what they're doing is completely retelling a different story. So it's called Pet Sematary, but it's not based off the material that Stephen King wrote. So that kind of worries me about this, even though I'm into it because I really liked Pet Sematary, the first one, and the second one was all right, but it's not good. So yeah, they're retelling a different story with I guess there's not much written about this, but it's going to follow a family in Maine, which is I guess it does in the first one, but it's going to have different events. So the first one, a guy.
So does the cat even die?
Well, it's not. Yeah, pets do die in the movie, but it's actually.
They're like, we're redoing the whole movie. It's called Pet Sematary. Has nothing to do with the movie or the book or the movie. It's like We Bought a Zoo, but with a pet cemetery.
It doesn't. You're reading too much into the word pet because, yes, technically it's a pet cemetery, but people get buried here and they come back to life like pets do, and they're like demonic and they're trying to kill people. So I guess, in a sense, it's not really a remake as like a completely reimagining with the same title. I'm honestly not sure why Stephen King would license the title for it if it wasn't similar to his book at all.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So they're skipping the whole pet part and just going straight to when the kid dies and he buries the kid and the kid comes back.
No, basically, but they're not even telling that story. They're just going completely off with a different story.
So they're just going to be like burying random like
it's going to be like a random person. I'm sure they have to outdo the two movies, and they're going to be burying like
cows,
bunch of people. It's probably going to be like a firing squad in Syria or something, and they get buried in there.
Pet cemetery. They're like, how do Native Americans get to Syria? What's happening? This is a Native Indian burial ground. We're in Syria. How did they get here? Navajo tribes in Syria? What's happening? That's fucking stupid.
I like the idea of it. I don't think that Pet Sematary and Pet Sematary 2 did a good enough job at the scary aspect of that situation, because it's kind of like it's basically a zombie movie. Because they come back.
The kid's like decaying?
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I thought it just makes them like evil. Like it's just like if Kevin dies, Kevin gets buried, it's now anti-Kevin.
Pretty much, but it's not a zombie movie in a sense where like they can't talk and they only want brains. They're still themselves, but just like a crazy evil version of it. But I if I remember right, they do look like their fucking skin's falling off and shit. Eventually, not right away.
Okay. Well,
I like the idea of the movie being told today because fucking newer is always better. And if they could do it like really dark and really nail the creepy aspect of it without it being like the first one where it was just like a zombie movie where they could talk and do shit that zombies couldn't do.
Right. I mean, yeah, that just sounds like a zombie movie with Pet Sematary slapped on it. That's like taking like any toy and like just slapping a Star Wars label on it. Now it's a Star Wars Tumblr. I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. I kind of wish I like the idea of this, but I kind of wish it didn't have the title attached to it.
But they're going to use the title as like a fallback. And they're like, oh man, we can't come up with any more ideas. Well, let's completely make it just like how it was in 1980, whatever. And then there's going to be lots of pets being buried. Ooh, you know what they should do is make a version where it's like a cat lady and all her cats get killed. And then she buries all the cats in the Indian burial ground. The cats come back and they start like a cat army.
Cat army. Is there a leader, or are they just do they just know what they're doing? Like, do they just know that they're working together?
I mean, cats are. I know you have cats, but cats are naturally assholes.
Yeah.
So they're just gonna all do asshole things even more so. But now they just like they basically like cooperate like a pack. You know, cats do asshole things on their own. Like they do shit without the other cats involved. Now they'll do like evil cat things where they're like trying to kill the cat lady. They're like setting up like balls of yarn, like a tripwire, so she falls and like breaks her hip or something. I think that'll be Pet Cemetery to Two Pets, Two Cemeteries.
They're so evil that they'll just like go in and knock all the shit off her counter and
Ooh, or better yet, they actually finally kill her. And then the I can't even like say this with it. The cats drag her lifeless body into the cemetery and then they dig and put her in there, and then she comes back as like their like evil cat lady god.
oh shit. That could actually happen. I could see Hollywood running with that idea.
100%. Yeah.
God damn, I'm just thinking about how that would go. But I feel like if there's enough cats, like probably 40 or 50 cats, and they're working together, they could probably form like a cat transformer. They could probably form like a person.
I don't know how convincing that would be. It's just like a giant furry, like it's cats. They don't shapeshift. It's just like a pile of cats. Like I wouldn't be fooled. It's like, now that's a man.
But would you be fooled if the cats were wearing a trench coat and a hat and you didn't know?
Well, I would see a cat's face, so I don't think it's going to be a Khajiit from Skyrim.
Touche.
Or I would, and I'd be like, oh my god, a Khajiit from Skyrim. Give me some skooma. Yeah. In any case, the Pet Cemetery, weird move, but you're for this? You're definitely for this.
I'm for it, yeah.
Okay. That's strange, because like the way you set it up made it seem like it was like one of the ones you didn't like.
No, I like the idea because I don't think the first two, or the only two, were that good. And I think it could be a good story. It just wasn't told very good in the first two.
Fair enough. So, we went over ones that we would be for. Now it's time to get into, and I don't know, Kev, I think this may have been more difficult because there are a lot of bad ones. I mean, I feel like bad movies are just going to be recycled for hundreds upon hundreds of years.
Yeah. This was really hard because I found a lot of movies getting remade that I really liked the first one, or I like what they did, and they're just ruining it with what they're doing now.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. So my first remake that is not good, because the first one wasn't good, and if it didn't work then, it's not going to work now. I'm talking about Masters of the Universe. Now, this is a reboot of the campy 1987 movie starring Dolph Lundgren and none other than Frank Langella as He-Man and Skeletor. Yeah, so the movie was made 1987 from all the hype from the action figures that Mattel made and the TV show everybody loved. The movie was straight up trash.
Oh my
I
god,
mean-
this movie came out on my birthday.
Oh shit, no
The
way.
day that I was born, yep.
It was fate. But yeah, maybe that's why you hate like bad movies. But yeah, this movie, the current reboot, it's already doomed. It's like due to the impossibility of converting already absurd looking characters from a cartoon to a live action movie. Only way this would work, I mean, and by work I use that word loosely, is it in the realm of over bloated CGI disaster. Like I said, didn't work in 87, not going to work now. Only way you could make it a movie, a moving picture, as far as like as literal as the term can get, is by doing overblown CGI. Now, the writer and director is going to be David, or I'm pretty sure I've looked up a couple things where it's for sure that's who it's going to be, is David S. Goyer, who wrote some good movies.
Yeah.
He helped with the Nolan Batman trilogy, wrote Blade, but he's also done some bad movies. Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Blade also.
Blade's a weird movie. It's good
It
and
is.
bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then he also has directed one bad movie, and really his only real directing credit, which is Blade Trinity.
Ooh, the worst of the Blades.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to tell, considering Nolan also wrote a lot of his movies. So I'm sure Goyer wasn't the main component. But then that also could help him, because Zack Snyder wrote a lot of his movies, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and he helped on that too. So I don't know if this guy's just trash, or he was put in bad situations, or he is trash and he was put in good situations, like for, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did write Blade. He wrote Blade 1. I'm pretty sure he has writing credits for Blade 2, and then he wrote and directed Blade Trilogy, which is what they want him to do for Masters of the Universe. So, if I only have Blade Trinity to compare to as far as both his writing and directing credits, abandon ship. Abandon ship right the fuck now.
Is this his project? Like, did he bring this up, or did they get him?
No, I think they got him. I mean, it's a Masters of the Universe. It's
like the guy, the executive producer, came in on Monday after watching Blade Trinity, and he's like, get me the guy that made Blade Trinity. And they're like, sir, that movie's awful. And he's like, I fucking love it. Saw it this weekend. That sounds awful. The movie has to be like, it has to be one of those meta movies. Like, you know how Team America World Police was? Like, they knew that it was puppets and they made fun of the fact that it was puppets. I think this has to be one of those types of movies, or it's going to be trash.
Actually, I wouldn't be against it being like using the action figures from the 80s and like the Castle Grayskull playset, and it just being a stop motion movie.
So basically like Robot Chicken?
Yes. But like all comedy / kind of cool action thrown in there. I would actually be down for that. But I'm just thinking like the conception of this project was like an exact kind of like how he saw Blade Trinity, saw the 1987 version. He goes, you know what would make this? We could do way worse than this. Come on, guys. The Blade Trinity guy got together with him. He's like, yo, Blade Trinity, man. And he's like, I know the perfect way to kill this Masters of the Universe stuff is to throw in the Blade Trinity writer and director.
Yeah, that's the only way it's going to work. It's got to be a movie that mocks itself. If it tries to be anything else, it's going to be fucking stupid.
I mean, it's going to try to be cool, that's where they're going to go with this, and it's going to fail miserably. This is going to be, that's like, and honorable mention a little bit is Flash Gordon. Like no one wants. I feel like most people know Flash Gordon because of, at least of our generation, is because of Ted. So
Yeah.
no one wants to watch a Flash Gordon movie. No one wants to watch a Masters of the Universe movie because it's basically like a Flash Gordon movie, except it has the He-Man action figures behind it and the He-Man lore behind it. But even the He-Man lore is kind of fucking stupid, and it's not meant to be a movie unless you went the route I said. Master of the Universe, no go on this. Trash movie, like just don't.
No, sounds
Kevin.
like trash.
What is one of these that you just couldn't stand? You just had to talk about it.
One of them that stood out. I'm scrolling down the list and I'm like, no, they're not doing this. It's the Expendables. And when I'm saying Expendables, I'm not saying expendable. I'm saying Expendables, like Belles.
Okay.
So you already know what it's going to be about. It's an Ocean's 8.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's going to be a fucking remake with women of the Expendables, which already wasn't a great movie. It was like a action porn movie.
Yeah.
The Expendables is supposedly going to be written by Karen McCullough and Kristen Smith, the people that wrote House Bunny, Legally Blonde, and She's the Man. Like
God.
3 really bad movies.
Is Sylvester Stallone even attached to this?
No, he's not.
So they just took his property and just like, well, gonna do all women casts. We're so edgy.
Yeah. So apparently they've been sending this script around and nobody wants to take it.
Well,
So let me run down the list. Sigourney Weaver passed, hard pass.
I wouldn't be mad at that casting though.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. Mila Djokovic or Jokovic, however you want to say it. Hard pass as well.
She passed.
Yeah.
That's not good. Like
Yeah.
that's a straight to that's like a straight to VHS. Not even DVD. Not even Blu-ray or
Just VHS.
It's straight to VHS movie. If Mila Jovovich, who does the shittiest of fucking garbage heap movies of Resident Evil, is not doing Expendables and was approached about it, this project's over. But continue with the list. Jesus Christ.
Cameron Diaz.
Eh.
She's whatever. I don't think she's great, but this
Action star?
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean that kind of proves my point. It was a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And also, I got 2 more. No, 3 more. Charlize Theron.
Okay.
They're reaching. Like they're like, man. The 2, like one of the worst actors of one of the worst series in Resident Evil passed on our movie. Fuck it, let's go after Charlize Theron and Meryl Streep and Sigourney
No.
Weaver.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
You're lying. You're
No, Meryl
100%
Streep
lying.
was offered the role, and she turned it down, obviously. And then, so they're in talks with.
Don't you kind of want Meryl Streep in a bad movie? Like, honestly, like, I would love to see this if Meryl Streep
But what if
is
she's
in it.
in the movie and it turns out to be amazing? And it's like, God damn, she cannot lose.
I would not be surprised, honestly.
I think that would prove that she made a deal with the devil.
She, like, brings in, she's like, Expendables, bring in Aaron Sorkin. He's writing the script.
Aaron Sorkin to write it, Martin Scorsese to direct it, and it's
Yep.
just like a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah.
So
Leo's the villain.
there are a lot of people on this list that turned it down. So I'll just read them off real quick. Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey, Halle Berry, Gina Davis, Jennifer Garner, Kate Beckinsale, Sandra Bullock, Chloe Grace Moretz, Uma Thurman, Angela Bassett.
They
Sharon-
basically asked any woman that's, like, in any action movie
yeah.
ever.
Yeah, Lucy Liu, Sharon Stone, Michelle Rodriguez. So pretty much any female in Hollywood they asked and has turned it down.
The execs in the boardroom were like, "What's a female? Let's ask them."
Look at your Twitter and see who asked,
Yeah.
and then we'll ask them. No, this is the awful. This is like Ghostbusters all over again. Like
This is worse. This is way worse. If they've asked literally every human being on the planet, it's not even like legit offers. They're like sliding into their DMs on Twitter, like, "Hey, you want to be in Expendables? XOXO or Expendables?"
Oh god, this movie. If
So
it gets
there's
made,
no cast. There's no
cast for it. No, there's only
Okay.
a script, and there's not even a director.
You mean words on paper?
There's words on paper. Yeah, there's nobody that wants to actually speak those words in front of a camera.
Oh God!
But this could. Have you seen the trailers for Ocean's 8?
No, I don't want to.
It doesn't look terrible, but I already know it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be. If Ocean's 8 does well, I think this could get made. If it does bad, I think they're going to be like, okay, another Ghostbusters, another Ocean's 8. No, we're not making this shit.
Yeah. No,
So I think
100%.
the fate of Expendables is resting on Ocean's 8, and I don't think it's going to see the light of day.
Yeah. Well, that'll be a good thing. Good thing it's on your dislike.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that I just need to just rant a little bit about. If there's one thing I cannot stand more is Disney's incessant need to do a beat for beat remake of an animated movie, such as Beauty and the Beast. Well, guess what, Kevin? They're doing it again and again and again and again. But the one that made it on my list that I just was about to flip my shit about is none other than Aladdin.
Oh God.
So, before I get into the details of the Aladdin movie, I just wanted to say, Hollywood, you wanted to redo a Jumanji movie and replace great Robin Williams with The Rock and Kevin Hart. I hated the notion, but fine. It made $1 billion to beat out Star Wars. You won on that one. Sure. Don't like it, but you won. But now you have to replace my man as the genie with none other, Kevin. With none other than Will fucking Smith.
No, God.
Yeah. Let's go save Agrabah, because you know that's what's going to happen.
Oh my God.
So basically, it's Aladdin opens a lamp and he gets Will Smith preaching about being an idea rather than a human. That's. I don't want to see Will Smith. I mean, God damn it. Oh, and Kevin, I know you'll hate this too. The movie's being directed by Guy Ritchie, so we're getting a Guy Ritchie Aladdin movie.
How is that gonna work?
I don't know.
Him and his
guy
fucking cutscenes and his transitions. God damn that guy.
A Guy Ritchie live action musical, Disney musical.
Fucking A. I fucking hate Guy Ritchie. I think
This is how the scene's gonna go. Hey, Abu, you remember when we went to steal that baguette and it's like cut to the baguette stealing? He's running around. Yeah, I remember. Do you remember when we jumped over the cart or whatever? It just cuts back. He's jumping over the cart.
It's
which,
just
by
like
the way,
a quick cut, some swoosh sound effects, some crazy coloring letters. I could just see it now. It's gonna be a fucking Guy Ritchie movie, and I can't like this. This sucks.
A Guy Ritchie movie with Will Smith as a genie, which at this point he's going to be the main character.
Oh yeah, it'll probably be written into his contract that they have to rewrite the movie to make the genie the fucking badass of the movie.
Like the whole movie, Aladdin's trying to like mac on Jasmine, and the next thing you know, Will Smith's fucking her. Like that's it's like, Aladdin, you took too long, man. I showed her my world.
God
I will say, the only positive thing about this movie, aside from Will Smith, only positive thing I could say that about the movie, that aside from Will Smith, they cast a mostly Middle Eastern cast.
Well, that's something.
Congrats to Disney for not whitewashing.
I'm surprised that Jake Gyllenhaal didn't get the call. To redeem himself, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, Jake, hear me out. I know you've done it before, but this is your chance to redeem yourself.
Listen. The prince was from Persia. Aladdin is from Arabia. Different places.
It's all the same.
Yeah. So, final thoughts on Aladdin, because I feel like there's not much to say that it's a Guy Ritchie live action musical starring Will Smith.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it right there. You could have just stopped at Guy Ritchie. Like, I'm already out with Will Smith being the genie, but Guy Ritchie directing it, I'm not paying to see any of his fucking movies. And I saw Jason X. I'm the guy that saw Jason X, and I am not paying to see a Guy Ritchie movie.
God, honestly, like, I really hate this, but I just, like, it's just so... It's, like, if you want to compare anything to, it's like saying... It's like seeing a Guy Ritchie Nightmare on Elm Street, Guy Ritchie Friday the 13th. It's like, hey, you remember when you ran from Jason? Quick cut. Jason's chasing after him. Quick cut. Yeah, I survived. Quick cut. No, I didn't. Head chopped off. It's like, oh, God. This is almost like an Edgar Wright Aladdin or something.
Which I would be more on board with than a Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, I think Guy Ritchie's now the poor man's Edgar Wright, but I even still, like, Edgar Wright has his, like, things. It's like too British, you know? It's like seeing, like, this is like seeing Monty Python and mixed with a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which
it's like, you know, when you see a British person and they're really British, you're like, God damn, that guy's British, and you don't even know.
Yeah.
It's like when you see an Edgar Wright movie, you're like, this is a fucking Edgar Wright movie. This is a British fucking movie.
Yeah. This is a Guy Ritchie movie. This is a fucking British ass movie.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's gonna be Guy Ritchie with Will Smith being himself. I just want to know what he looks like in the bottle. Is he gonna be CGI, or is he gonna be like Will Smith, like, hey, like coming out of a bottle?
He's
let's
just
go
like
say
straight up.
Let's
Will
go
Smith.
save the world.
No, not even blue skin. He's just Will Smith all like cut up and shit. Like,
oh yeah. Are they gonna make him blue?
I imagine they're gonna CGI the genie.
Yeah,
they better not fuck
to.
it up, and they're already fucking it up, but they better not fuck it up by just making him look like a person.
Yeah, that'd be lame.
Yeah.
Well, Kev, what's your goddamn Aladdin, goddamn Disney live action remakes? The fuck?
They're ruining everything. They're especially ruining my shit.
The worst part, before we get into yours, about Disney is they literally just remake the movie. Like when you do a remake, it's kind of like you kind of put your own spin on it. They just remake the movie. Just like take the cartoon and we'll just do every scene the exact same way, exact same song. So yeah, I don't.
That's ridiculous. I know they're doing a Lion King, and I love the Lion King, and that movie is gonna be fucking trash. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna. I tried
It's
to watch.
It's gonna be like
Jungle
Milo
Book.
and Otis Lion King.
Yeah, I tried to watch Jungle Book, and I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not doing it.
All right.
So, speaking of Hollywood ruining classic movies, one of my my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie is being ruined by the one person that I hate more than Guy Ritchie. And the movie is The Birds. So it's a movie about birds. attacking people.
Kind of like the cat army.
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of pets.
Ooh,
in
cat
this
army
episode.
would defeat the birds. Just saying.
Pets. two pets, two cemeteries versus the birds.
Two birds.
This movie is being remade for some reason by none other than Michael Bay.
Oh God.
And this guy is going to ruin a classic Hitchcock movie because he's going to add explosions everywhere. Like, these birds are going to explode at the end, I bet.
Oh, they're definitely gonna make shit explode. There's no way they're not going to.
So
They all fly into a jet. The jet explodes. You know that's gonna be a scene.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I wouldn't be surprised if Will Smith was in this movie,
Yeah. Oh, he definitely would be in the movie.
especially with Michael Bay.
Oh
I think-
yeah.
yeah. It's like a calling for Will Smith to be in Michael Bay style movies.
Yep. Yep.
So there's not much about this other than in 2014, it was written that Michael Bay wanted to remake The Birds. That sounds fucking awful. But the only thing that may have squashed it was last year, it was announced that the BBC is going to make a TV series based off of the short story that Alfred Hitchcock made the movie based off of. So it's going to be more to the original story. And this may have, hopefully, squashed the entire remake idea. I'm just praying it does.
I'm shaking my head here. That's a no. Remember we had 2 Snow White movies and we had like
At the same time. in
2
theaters
at the same time? And there was 2 other of the same movie that had come out as well. Fuck, and I can't remember what it is, but having 2 of the same movie, and especially like you said, to come out at the same time, that'll not be a problem. And it's Michael Bay. Nothing stops this man. He makes Transformers 30, and they make no money, and yet somehow he still has like $1 billion on CGI. I feel like Michael Bay may have purchased like legitimate equipment. Like, you know how most production companies like rent stuff?
Yeah.
He like has it at his house. He's like, all right, let's make a Bumblebee action scene right in the backyard. That's what he does. I feel like he does all this on his spare time. So when he's like, all right, new Transformer movie, he has like footage already made.
Yeah, I could see that. It like his whole the back of his house is just like a set, like a set of shit that's rigged to blow at any moment, and he's just like,
don't go to Michael Bay's pool parties. You think this is good? Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I hate Michael Bay. He's
I
the
do
worst
too.
thing.
He's literally the worst director ever. Second worst director ever.
He's a bad director. I don't know if he'd be the worst.
And apparently he's an asshole. Like, you're not that good to be that much of a dick.
But he makes a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but just like in terms of people wanting to work with him, he's not that good to be that much of a dick.
I think Michael Bay is just a heaping pile of explosives. That's like all he is. Like I said, I think I've said this before, but Michael Bay is the Joker. When the Russian guy in The Dark Knight asks him what he's going to do with his half of the money, and he's like, I'm a simple man. I like gunpowder and dynamite.
Yeah, terrible movie. Final thought on this: terrible movie, terrible idea, terrible director. End of story.
Oh yeah, definitely. So guys, let us know what you think. I know you had, I'm sure you have plenty others that you'd say you like, don't like, but let us know. Shout us out. What would you like to see out of? You could just go on IMDb and look up a list of stuff, and yeah, just what you like, what you don't like. Kevin, you have anything to plug?
Hey, we got a new logo now. That's something.
Yeah, that's something. And make sure to check us out on Instagram. We'll try to post more pics and audio clips from nice little pieces of the show. And yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Wicked Hot Talk, as well as Kevin and I's respective handles. But yeah, man, I think that was a solid episode. Go home team this weekend. And yeah, I think that's another one in the books, man.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.